Hi, today in class we're going to do practice with our acceleration equation. I've rearranged our acceleration equation to solve for our acceleration, which is how you see it normally. If you want to solve for your final velocity, we're going to use this equation. If you want to solve for your initial velocity, we're going to use this equation. And if you want to solve for time, we're going to use this equation. It is the same equation, just rearranged to isolate one of the variables. Some of the things to keep in mind when you're doing these word problems: if the problem says you're starting from rest, that means your initial velocity is 0. If you're coming to a stop, that means your final velocity is going to be 0. And if it's okay to have a negative acceleration, because acceleration is a vector and it could be positive or negative. So a negative acceleration just means that you're slowing down. I'm going to do a few problems with you and show you how I would like you to do them for me. I started a video already and ran out of space on my phone, so I had to do some moving around. But anyway, this is problem 11. And the car says it's traveling at 45 meters per second. This is going to be my initial velocity. And then a traffic light turns red and the driver slams on the brakes to stop. So this means my final velocity is going to be 0. And it took 3.3 seconds. So my time is going to be 3.3, and I'm looking for my acceleration. So I generally pull out the variables in the order they're listed in the word problem, but you don't have to do that at all. In fact, you can make a list of just your initial, final, time, and acceleration for all your word problems, and then go in and fill in what they are and what they're looking for. In fact, I'm going to do that for number 10 right now. A car traveling at a speed of 30 meters per second encounters an emergency and comes to a complete stop. Okay, so this is going to be a similar style problem. So 30 meters per second. My final velocity would be 0 meters per second, and it's asking for time. How much time it is what we're looking for. And we've got an acceleration of negative 4 meters per second squared. All right, so this is how I'd like you to list your variables for each of the word problems with a question mark on what we're finding. So now we have some pulled out. We can come up here and look at our equations that we've rearranged. So if I want acceleration, I'm going to use this equation here. So I'm going to write my base equation out, and you need to do this too if you would like full credit for your assignment. For this one, I'm looking for time, so I'm going to use the equation rearranged for time. And now it's just a matter of plugging in the variables. So for this one, I've got 0 meters per second is my final velocity, minus my initial velocity, which is 45 meters per second, divided by my time, which is 3.3. So 0 minus 45 gives me negative 45 divided by 3.3, which gives me negative 13.6. And this is an acceleration, so my units are meters per second squared. For problem number 10, we picked our equation, so now we can just plug in our variables. Our final velocity is 0. Our initial velocity is 30. Our acceleration is negative 4. So 0 minus 30 gives me negative 30 divided by negative 4. So the negatives will end up canceling out. Our time is a scalar, so it's always going to be positive, giving me 7.5 seconds. So your answer should have units on it.